Right. Okay, I wrote this off stream. It's a sort of copy of my utils random number here, which we then use to generate a random path without using boost file system. And I even did throw in a test. The thing exists. I also tested. Oh yeah, well it compiles now, so I fixed like 50 typos, but that's not very important. No, do that. The comment goes with this line. Let's put that one here or something. If we want to use cin, standard cin, then we also write to standard cout. That means that the default is true, so we don't have to don't do this. No. think I should close this file first. So we route to output stream. And then at this point we're done writing. It did not throw an exception, so it was successful. I want to rename that file, but it probably makes sense to first close the file. Flush it, at the very least. But we can't flush cout. Well, actually you can flush cout. So I need to decide here, maybe I just call flush, but I will also want to close it if it is open. I guess I can just do flush. It's a pointer. And the rename, of course, also only needs to happen when we are working with the disk, which is in this case. So in the case of standard output, then we do flush it, but then we skip that. Just flushed everything to standard out. See what the compiles, so it just makes stuff up and. Let the compiler do the work. Yeah, we don't have that yet. Process input file. Just write the function. Yeah, I call them usually OS, so let's call the other one IS. As opposed to ISS. Hey, Cortaro, yeah. Welcome to a new live. I know, I'm in an identity crisis. But it seems like super fun to write it, so I thought, well, why not? Now, for the way arc, I just had to format my code, and existing formatters, at least clang-format, horrible. Just messes up all my comments. Process input file name. Yeah, I know it exists there. It's not name, it's a file. I think I called it process input file. Did I? Didn't I? Yep. Well, that's interesting. What the hell happens? Now let's start with the actual file first. It's not doing anything. Oh, that's right. And still it's a fixed main to call that function that I just wrote. Yeah, of course. So okay, so we run over all the files here. These are the input files. Files to process. So if this thing is not empty, there was some complexity with it. So the reason that we split this thing up was because it was hard to decide or see if this file path here is CN or not. So you have to make that decision now and then pass it as a boolean if it is CN, in which case the file name itself doesn't really matter. So I would say that if something is in my files to process, then it's just a file. It's not CN, right? So this is always true then. And if files to process is empty, then I want to use one file, namely standard in. So that would be I don't know, if empty else. I do it wrong, right? This was use standard in, so it's actually false. And here then the file name doesn't really matter. It's I don't know, use something standard in. And then there is the possibility that we specify a minus sign somewhere as input file. So what happens then? That would be one of these, right? Input files. Yeah, these are just arguments. So one of these is a minus sign, then we also need to call this. And I need to remove it then from the files to list, from the files to process. Which is currently containing a standard string. Let's make that file names. File system path. Which makes this a file system path. Yeah, maybe not. Let's try default constructed thing. Hey Mitchell, learning math. Yeah, math is cool. So this is not as straightforward. You really want to run over all the input files. And input files are just strings. This is kind of annoying, but yeah. Who cares about Windows? So if something, then something, and otherwise add them. But maybe just add them always, and here continue. It's kind of a special case. And then insert the pass. This is a vector. Push back. Let's lose and place back, because this is going to be it is a string, right? So it's going to be used as the argument to the constructor of whatever you store. Almost dead. Oh no, I'm just kidding. Slight cough. If what? Yeah. So in that case, you don't store it, but we still have to call this, I guess. Unless we never get here. I mean, I don't want to do this twice, right? Maybe, I don't know. Just completely feeling. But I think this reads better. So if it is empty, but we did not already do it, it's more like a but here instead of an and. I'm gonna rename it though. Do I do saw minus sign? Ah, much better. Yeah, saw. What is it called? Dash. If we don't call this, we just said saw dash. And skip it. And then the order is also better, I think, because we just do that as do the standard in as the first one. Although, yeah, if you know, actually not. If you use a dash somewhere halfway and you write to standard out, so it's not in place, then the order is, you are specifying the order. You put a dash right there where it is. So it has to be called here. I don't like that. I want to pronounce this as standard in. That sounds so C-like. We'll C standard in. Standard in, yeah. Standard in. I don't know. It's an abbreviation, but I like this best. At least now I can pronounce it as standard in, which is how I want to pronounce it. Okay, so we do, at the moment we see the dash, then we process the file, and I note that I saw it, because then we don't want to do it here. Yeah. Yeah. Let's try this. Generated file, yeah. So it wrote it to send it out because I didn't specify minus I for in place. And I have a bar as well, I think. Yep. I'm an idiot. This on bar.cpp. So this way it writes to standard out. And then of course we can add another one for the input. But that doesn't do anything unless I add a minus sign. Yeah. Now we have 3 of them. Ta-da. unreadable. This looks like a copy of another website, an archive, but then without the makeup, so we can't read it anymore. What the hell, why is it not like the top thing? Let's forget the controls. To copy several bytes, blah blah blah. Can do it to copy. I guess this is the answer that I need. I found that the RDBuf version is at least twice as fast as copy. Okay, we want to do this. What is debuff or debuff? Yeah. I'm a bit hesitate to use this because isn't that like formatted? I guess not, but it's quite a bit larger. See, this is kind of what I was missing then in the other case. I'm afraid that it doesn't do that. Unless you open it as a binary file, but I'm not doing that. And this is why copy is so slow, standard copy, because they probably don't buffer it. Yeah, I only need a quick hack actually. Well, in the end, I'm never going to copy it, of course. You can also open it as binary. Oh no, it does a double. It still causes. Yeah, so it does not answer my question, really, actually, because Still going to ask Claude. Yeah, yeah. If you do make a suggestion to an LLM, then it tells you, "Oh, wonderful! You're right. Of course, I apologize." Even if the previous answer that it gave was better, so this still doesn't tell us anything. But like I said, the only thing I really need is a hack. So let's just dump this in, and eventually don't use it at all anyway. That's pretty. I was going to say cool, but it is not. Why is my standard in at the first place? Well, I specified it as the last one. Feels like why? At least we have foo first. So add another foo. Foo bar foo. I'm afraid that the standard in is being done first, or yeah, strange. That's also weird, because I didn't test that. Plus, I think if someone would specify 3 times a minus sign, that's just not acceptable. Actually, you should error. You can read the input as a stream, so you can only read it once. And if you do this, then still nothing. No, that's nonsense, of course. Well, not of course, actually. Maybe it is interpreting as an empty argument. No, because it was reading from. It was reading from it. Let's have a look at the code. This is the only function that prints that stuff. And it is only called from these three places. And if I have a minus here, then that should happen first, and that's exactly what happens. I'm so stupid. Yeah, okay. That's not the place where I should call it. I have to use indexes, I think. So we're going to run over index of the vector. Let's call it I of index. I is less than files to process. Why is it called input files here? Input files. What the hell is input files? Nobody knows, of course. It's a list. Some kind of list. Can't even do that then. Well, at least yeah, we need an iterator to access that. Okay, change int index, positional index, position maybe. Let's start with 0 and then we just increment it at the end. Wait, and I miss my continue. No, yeah, but do it both. Can't do it here, so oh, well, I could do it here, but let's do it there. Let's do it there anyway. So that means that I want to have here an iterator. Let's call that auto. Auto, now input file is an iterator, and we start with input files begin. Input file unequal input file end plus input file, and I can do comma plus position. So the dereferenced iterator is stand string reference or const reference, probably reference. So we do not want to do this. I want to remember where we saw it. So I'm just going to assign position here to sol dash. And this must be an int as well. Initialize to -1. Let's just shift the whole thing, because if you make this 0, then it's more like a sol dash. But if you convert it to a boolean, then this is false. But then we have to start at position 1. and we don't really have an index anyway, because it's a linked list. Position 1 is now the first element, and then if saw dash is true, basically, then we have the position in it at which we saw the minus sign. So if the first one is a minus sign, then it is 1. Okay. Everything is put in here. So now we have to do the same thing then here, after processing everything. And then if it is empty, so we didn't do anything, and we did not see a dash at all, then we have to call this. Otherwise, you can do it from the loop by running over all the input files again, right? No, wait a minute. Now I'm running over files to process. But that's a one-to-one copy, except for discontinue. Let's copy this. Let's call this actually the dash position. No. Well, actually. No, this is just position. Nonsense. So dash is the dash position. Yeah. I can just do position here. Position is 1 again. And then here I loop over. Oh, that's another way to do it. Maybe even smarter. Like that. Yeah, let's do that. So I'm gonna do it at the front. So now it doesn't matter that we continue here or fall through. Then of course start at 0. And I can replace that again with normal range iteration. I did want to have the type though. Standard string const reference input file input files. So we had the same thing, we did position to 0 and then run over the const reference of files to process, which are standard file system path objects. And then if position becomes equal to this sort dash, which can only happen if sort dash is not 0, because position is now always larger than 0. There's no need to check if we sort at all. Then you have to do this, right? And then, yeah, continue. You see it coming. No, actually not. Wait a minute. Its position is sort dash. We have to insert this. So if now I continue, I do plus position again. Well, that's actually a good thing, because then this is no longer true. And then we continue with processing that. But I also, no, I do not continue here. I think it's like this. So this is, we run over all of them, and we do for each of those, we do this. But at certain position, I insert this call in front of the current one. That totally goes wrong, of course, if it is at the beginning and or the end, in this case the end. So what should it be? If it is the first one, then sort dash is set to 1. That would be immediately, and indeed then we call that. And then we continue with the first file now. So that's okay. But if the dash is the last one, then then we already processed the last one, and then we never get here. So I have to do this one more time in the end or not? Including the plus position then. It's not that easy. Maybe just set sort dash to 0. And then test that here at the end. Trying to think of a way to not to duplicate this. Probably not possible. Maybe it is possible. What about renaming sort dash to something else, like substitute sort dash to more like the action that you want to take. So handle cin, process cin. Then it gets a different meaning. So now I can do here, it's empty. So if this is empty, then we need to process cin. So then it is true from the beginning. And if then I see a minus sign, well, we won't. So this sets it to false if we ever enter this loop. But now it's set to true if this is empty, in which case, oh wait a minute, that's faster process, not input fast. What? No, but the faster process is at least as large as input files. So if this is empty, then that must be also empty. Yeah. And then we can do this trick. Stuff here. When do I want to do this? Just always, because I don't care. The thing is empty. If it is empty, then I might as well do this, because then this is not doing anything. And not processing. I don't know, whatever, go away. No indentation. Yep, so, well, actually not yet. Yeah, this is nonsense. This was a test that we did after this loop. And this loop appends input files to faster process. So empty means that both are empty. This empty should have been that at least. So if nothing is specified, then we always want to process cin. And then this loop is not doing anything, and this loop is not doing anything, and then we get here. So now I can say if process cin, then process cin. And that definitely reads nice. Now if one of them does have something like, say, normal files, then faster process is non-empty afterwards, because either we put that in an empty thing, something that is not empty, into something that is empty, or it was not empty to begin with. And then this one might be empty, or can be empty, and we end up with something that is not empty, and that's being processed here then. And if now, we, while doing this, we encounter a dash in the input files, then we still store that position. And that is then not added to faster process. Now I'm asking myself, maybe, do I want to allow putting a minus sign in faster process? Nah, come on. No. We're not going to do that. Starts to be ridiculous there. Okay, so if you specify a dash on the command line, then that position is remembered, and that then has absolutely nothing to do anymore with this position, because you're appending that stuff. So we have to start the position at the size of the thing that we already have. Faster process dot size. Let's see. So now say we have in faster process, which is the number of files that are specified in a file. Say that is 3. And we also specify a few on the command line. Then this becomes 4. And that is on the position at which the minus sign occurred, apparently. Which means that these things always these always come before whatever you specify on the command line. That's the way it is. And we remember that, so that means that definitely always process what was in it already. But I should not set position to 0 here. No, 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 no. Oh, actually you do, sorry, yeah. So now we set it to 0, and now it is the position in here, and then if it is equal to what we remember there. Note that this is now did start at 0, right? So either it doesn't never match, or we did come here at some point, because this is not empty. If position equals process cn, that doesn't read very nice anymore. Oh, yeah. Anyway, that would be the point at which we have to process standard in, so I call that. I think that is correct. This now also would work for the if it happens as the first argument, and then if it happens as the last argument, then we don't execute this, and then I want this to be executed. That's why we did all that refactoring, basically. So that means that here I must set process cn to false. Yeah, bleh, just that. Yeah, you can specify a few of those, but it doesn't do anything. So if you specify something, then standard in is ignored. But if now I add a dash here, it could get put before foo, and if I add it at the end, it gets put after foo. Very good. Yeah, no, that seems to work. Yeah, it remembers the position of the last dash, I guess. This works, and this works. Where's my file list? I made a file list, this one. Yeah. Troop.txt. So it just printed that it can't open it 3 times and processes nothing, apparently. Why not just fail at the first one? That's not okay. You have to exit current function here, because it completely failed to open that file. Like here, you just do a return after an error. What is it doing in the other case here? Open the temp file. Okay, so that succeeded. And opening the input file fails. We have to close the temp file if it is open to begin with. So O file. Actually, no, I want to remove it. I'll probably first have to close it. I think it's not open, then it wasn't created either. So I can close it and now remove it. How do we remove this? That's standard files. Blub. I have to go in 5 minutes, by the way. File system. Probably remove. And you need the name of the file, which is the temp file path. And if the process input file failed, then I also close it. No, actually, then we get here. So this one, output files closed is nice, but yeah, the rename. Then we got rid of the temp file, so that looks good. And then we do a return. So if we get here, then we have to recover from the fact that everything is open, but the thing just fails. Okay, same thing. Yeah, the closing is not really necessary, because if we go out of scope, then it will be closed automatically. In this case, I just close it because I want to remove it after closing. I guess again, close the output file before we close the input file. Nevertheless, I think it already did all this. That is, we have an error, now we exit this function. And then we just continue with the next one. Yeah. Okay, yeah, they all failed. What? No, they didn't all fail. It's like, oh, something was wrong.